Try 2. I moved it from this one over to here. There she blows. And now my mechanism works. They spring back in, but it's the same thing as earlier. When I move this way, this is not causing that to spring back. Hold my starter ratchets in. So what I think is the little stick that's on the other side of this, much like the main coil, it also needs to be coiled. It's a spring, so it's not enough for it to just sit there. When you put this on, you gotta twist this sucker this way, so it wants to spring back that way. Let's try again. Alright, so the plot thickens. I bought this inside to get a better look at it. And what have I found? Sorry about the camera work. That little hole right there only exists on that one. It's not there, it's not there. Ding, ding, ding. It's only there. What does that tell me? That tells me this. Where did it go? There she go. There she blows. This little part sticks through the top of one of these two. I assume that one. I don't know why there's 2 of those. Usually there's a reason for these kind of things. And this little sharp, non-bent part probably sticks in there. And that's what holds this little ring in this little circle. This will be coming out of the top of here. And one way or another, that bends back to produce the spring back that we're looking for, which is probably in the opposite direction of this. This goes this way, that causes these to come out, and after they come out, what pushes them back in is this thing right here, recoiling in that direction. So that's what we're trying to do, is stick this in here and twist the spring back thusly. It's hard to say. It might just go as far as from here to here. That might be all it takes. But that will cause these things to be held in rather than ting-a-ling-a-ling on the inside of the rotator coil, the recoil cup. Yeah, I think I said that right. Beyond that, before I do all of that fancy footwork, I'm just going to try to put this back down here with some regular Gorilla Glue rather than 3M5200 that turned into that rubbery business. And if that doesn't work, then we'll think of something else. I think it's worth mentioning this little thing right here and how this part of this recoil unit works. It's not, you can't see this anywhere else on YouTube. And there's at least 2 more things on this channel that you also cannot see on YouTube. One of those is going to be what's called a roll pin. There's a shear pin on an axle, which most people know what that is. It's made to break off in case your prop hits a rock. The shear pin will break rather than break the prop. That happened to me, but even after that, it still spun around freely until I discovered the roll pin that's even farther down the axle. That was on my Ted Williams 7.5 horsepower motor. That'll be coming up later. And the other thing is, excuse my froggy voice, is the, what was it? The kill mechanism on the Clinton J9. That'll be coming up in the future as well. But here's the first thing on this channel that I can think of, if there hadn't been something already, that isn't on any other YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get it to work. I believe I've cracked the code on this finally. This will be the most awesome reverse engineering moment of my life if this happens. But what happens here is this little guy, once the straight part is in here, you pull this back across this plane and it'll hook right here. What you want it to do, dun dun dun, you're going to put this back on here where your starter ratchets line up with their little slots. That'll be these slots right here. But they can't be just any slots. They have to go on just right. In fact, they have to go on exactly like this. And what's going to happen is this little guy right here is going to stick through this one, the opposite direction L. And what's going to happen is this will be closed. This pulls your starter ratchets out, pulls them in this direction, they come out. And what you want is for that little hook to pull this reverse L back so that it holds the starter ratchets in. The only question is, because you can't turn it back far enough to see this little guy and poke him through where he needs to go. So how do you get what's underneath here back here where it needs to be? And I think the answer to that is you tie a little string around this bad boy. Then you put the straight part back in here. The string will then come through the reverse L. You'll push it down into position. Get on there, you. Whatever. Because there'll be a spring here. You'll have to hold it down. And when you're ready to finally screw it down completely, you'll hold with your left hand, you'll pull the string with the right, and that little part will pop through. You'll pull it all the way across to right here where it will pop through there. And then you screw it down the rest of the way. And you'll have your reverse whoosh, spring action holding down your starter ratchets. So, in case you didn't get that, it's pretty complicated. Can't believe I'm figuring this out, but I think I am. I'm going to tie a string around that, and it's going to come through here. Then I'm going to screw it down with its little spring action in there like it's supposed to be, with its little other piece, wherever that went. There's another little circular tube that goes in there. And then right before I get it all the way tied down, I'm going to pull the string, and then that's going to come through, and I'm going to tighten it down once and for all. And this whole dang thing. Oh, there he is. This goes like that. Is it gonna work? This is awesome. I don't even have to struggle to hold this thing down because the screw's resisting it while trying to yank this at the same time. All you need to do is tighten this thing. I can't do it with one hand and hold the camera, but tightening the bolt will cause this to go down without you forcing it down with your hand. And I'm going to be able to get it close enough where I'll be able to yank that little piece out with ease. And it'll just sit there without even being completely tight. And then I'll tighten it the rest of the way, and it should work. Can I do this with one hand? Shit, almost. You can see it working though. If I didn't have to hold this camera, I could hold this down and give it a good pull, and you'd see it go right back where it needs to. Yeehaw! I just want to say, when I was pulling my thread, I was using sewing thread, by the way. I don't know where that went. Here it is. I was using sewing thread. And when I pulled this thing and it popped through there, the sewing thread came right off and it clicked right into position. It was beautiful. If I do anything smarter than this today, I'll be pretty surprised. Look at that baby go.